All right. So we're doing chicken stock. Basic things, always, you're gonna need what's called Mirepoix. This is kind of like the foundation for a lot of French cooking. It's gonna be 2 parts onion to 1 part carrot and 1 part celery by weight. So I've got twice as much onion, pretty much equal parts as the onion and the carrot and that. And with stock, it's always important that you have washed vegetables, cleaned vegetables that are already pre-washed and pre-cleaned, but you also want them to be large chunk. A lot of the time, people cut the vegetable too small and they cook too quick once they're in the stock. So chunkier is better. So I'm just gonna cut those in half. I'm gonna cut the ends off the carrots here, the rib end, have my compost bowl over there. And then with this, I'm gonna cut them, but I'm gonna cut them a little bit closer to this side because they taper off. That's it right there. And with the onions, we'll take off the root end. I don't cut all the way through, I pull off a little bit. It helps you get a little bit. You can peel off that way if you want to, but also another way is to just cut right through. Now usually it's better to be a little bit more generous when you peel off an outer layer of the onion because it has a tendency to get a little papery. Just that little. So go one more deeper than you think. In half. And I'm just gonna keep them cut in half. And whenever I work, I always have a white towel, so that's wet. I have a dry towel for grabbing hot things, and I have a compost. Anything that you don't want to throw away, any kind of food product, anything like that, all goes in there. Also have a bunch of thyme, probably about, like that much. However much you want. Next pair of chicken stock is the chicken. There we go. This is probably about a 7.5 pound bird. I've let it kind of dry off a little bit. You don't want it to be too wet when you work with it. It'll slide off. So when deboning a chicken, first thing I like to do is take it out of the sockets. And let's cut right here. Anytime you're deboning any kind of animal, whether it's a bird or really anything, you don't want to cut meat. You want to cut in between the meat. So all the way through here into the skin. So you've gone through that, pop out the hip sockets. Then you can go around and cut in between the hip sockets. That's 1 leg quarter. Here's another leg quarter. And then you're left with the breast. The breast is going to have a breastbone that runs vertically, top to bottom right here. It's easy to kind of feel, especially when you get about to the lower half of the breast. You want to run the knife straight down on both sides of that. So the first incision will go on top of that, straight down, and then on the other side also, straight down. Ideally you have nothing on there, but that looks pretty good to me. All right, and then once you get down to the bottom rib cage, so it's going to be underneath here, you just run your knife along the bone. So there's bones right back in here that are like the back of the chicken. You don't want to cut the actual meat, you just press your knife up against the bone just to get it released from where it is. So you go all the way down until you get to the chicken wing. And you cut to the top all the way down to the chicken wing, and then once you get down there, it could be pretty much detached already. That's what's going to have the chicken wing separated or connecting to the like the torso of the chicken, and all you have to do right there is just cut through. And you can do the other side. So you'll get to there's bones here on the back. You just want to run the knife along that. You're not trying to cut meat, you're just trying to cut in between the bone. And then this tendon right here is what's going to be connecting. See, if you have a hard time finding the knuckle being where the joints connect, just kind of whip your knife down into it. You don't have to go too fast. that's all the meat of the chicken, and this is what we use for the stock. I also like to use chicken feet for the stock. Most of the flavor is going to come from the chicken carcass itself, but a lot of the body is going to come from the feet. Now there's two ways of doing it. You can make a blonde chicken stock or you can make a brown chicken stock. If you want to make a brown chicken stock, you can roast these in the oven at about 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. Or if you want to do a blonde standard chicken stock, they'll go straight into the pot. So here I have our stock pot. The chicken carcass, chicken feet. And then I will come in with the Mirepoix. So that's the onions, 2 parts, carrot 1 part, celery 1 part. You can take the leaves out. I like to leave the leaves in. It's actually really good for garnish too. Tasty. Anytime. Cover that with cold water just until it covers the contents of the pot. You don't want to cover it more than that. As soon as you can kind of push down and it covers up to your hand, and it just dilutes the stock. More water, less flavor. It's kind of a general rule of cooking. Alright, so I'm going to put it on medium-high heat. I'm going to cover it, but I'm going to keep my eyes on there. In fact, I'm going to start a timer for 12 minutes. I'll check it in that. It's okay to have a stock come up to a boil, but you don't want it to keep a boil. As soon as it comes up to a boil, you need to turn it down. I like to think of stock as almost like you're making tea. You just want the bones and the contents, your Mirepoix, to like steep. That kind of low simmer, that's the perfect temperature to extract all of the gelatin out of the chicken carcass, which is going to get the stock flavor, and it's also going to give it a lot of body to it.